Bloodborne is an in-depth labyrinthian game where much is left to interpretation. With so many different places to start, we will discuss each of the subjects within the sections, starting with the locations of the game. You can find chapters at the bottom of the video if you would like to skip to any sections, and thank you all for watching. Yharnam is a towering Gothic city, which is home to both hunters and beasts. As there isn't any evidence of there being a ruling body of the city, one can presume that it is under the control of the Healing Church, or at least indirectly. The church focuses on healing the population of Yharnam by blood infusions. Miraculously, blood healing can heal wounds and cure disease, but with this discovery, Yharnam as a whole quickly became corrupted and its people mutated. This quickly turned into chaos, and hunters were deployed as a means to clear up the new beast population. Old Yharnam was originally just called Yharnam. There was, until the blood ministration spread an illness known as ashen blood, which had similarities to fast poison, however more severe. Eventually the disease spread to all the inhabitants, and those infected turned into beasts. This explains why all the beasts in Old Yharnam are also poisonous. After the fall of Old Yharnam, it was closed off and Central Yharnam was built along with the Grand Cathedral. Many hunters still roam around Old Yharnam, hunting more for fun rather than serving a duty. Bergenworth College is a school led by Master Willem. It serves as the main source of knowledge and understanding the Great Ones, and attempting to achieve a higher plane of thought. Scholars at Bergenworth created their own orders, mainly being the Healing Church and the School of Menses. The college now sits desolate after its scholars experimented without care, both destroying the population around them and disrupting the Great Ones. Yahogul was a city that was taken over by the School of Menses. With their twisted experiments, the city's population quickly ceased to exist, the main goal being to create a Great One. Not much progress was achieved, but a vessel was created. It's unknown who for, but many speculate it being for Murgo. Now the city lays in waste, with the remnants of the school's twisted experiments left to roam the streets. Cainhurst is home to Queen Annalise, who was the first vile blood to partake in the corrupted blood from Bergenworth. Having the ability to extract the essence of hunters' blood, Annalise ordered her followers to hunt down hunters and harvest them as offerings to her. Annalise consumed these offerings and eventually became immortal, creating a timeless society of vampire-like beings to roam the grounds for eternity. They are seen as lessers and are commonly hunted by a faction named the Executioners. Themaria was an ancient civilization ruled by Queen Yharnam. Eventually they retreated underground for unknown reasons into the labyrinth, where the Great Ones reside. The Great Ones and the Themarians became closely connected with each other, which resulted in the Themarians receiving supernatural powers. However, this came at a cost, as the Great Ones being unable to reproduce amongst themselves, Queen Yharnam became a surrogate for them. The fishing hamlet is one of the most daunting locations, as the horrors that enshroud themselves here are the reason for all that occurs in Yharnam. One day, the body of a Great One named Kos washed ashore the beaches, seemingly already dead from something unknown. The only thing still alive was the parasites and a fetus within her body. After the hunters harvested the corpse, infection and soon transformation fell onto the village, causing the locals to turn into resemblances of fish, with their speech restricted to the simple phrase, "Splish, splash, splish." Blip, blop, blip, blop. The village was massacred, but the plague continued to spread further, eventually reaching into Yharnam, creating an uncontrollable infection that would soon also take control of the hunters. The abandoned workshop was the first built by German, but when the Healing Church built their own workshop and started sanctioning hunters, German's workshop fell out of use. Overcome with loneliness, German used an umbilical cord to contact a Great One known as the Moon Presence, in order to create the hunter's dream. The dream bound hunters to both dream and reality, so if a hunter died, they can come back through the dream, making the hunt more effective. German's recreation of Lady Maria, the doll, also came to life in the dream, which made him pleased as it served as his only company. German now awaits all hunters to enter the dream to help them fulfill their contract, and after the contract is fulfilled, he is also the one to release them. However, German himself is stuck there for eternity, which is sustained by the moon presence. When the people of Yharnam started to transform into beasts, a man named German would hunt them down along with other Bergenworth scholars, and soon a following would rise. They followed German into the brutal killings of the citizens of Yharnam, starting what's known as the Hunt. German, as the first hunter, is condemned in the hunter's dream, which acts as his prison for eternity. Lady Maria was a citizen of Canehurst and a relative of Queen Annalise. She studied under German and joined the first hunt, proving her fighting prowess. German began to admire Lady Maria, developing a lust for her. During her time as a hunter, Maria partook in the excursion by Bergenworth scholars of the fishing hamlet, a small village whose population had begun to mutate due to a Great One, Kos, being washed ashore there. The mission took its toll on her morals, as she and the other hunters mutilated each innocent villager and desecrated Kos's body. It is unclear what exactly they did to Kos, but it's documented that they harvest the eldritch blood. Nevertheless, this sacrilegious action caught the attention of the other Great Ones, whom cursed Maria and the other hunters to what's known as the Hunter's Nightmare. Lady Maria, riddled with guilt, ended her life, which German could not forgive. As German was condemned in the hunter's dream without his love Maria, loneliness and pain took her place instead. German, to attempt to fill that space, created a doll which resembled Lady Maria, even having her same voice. However, German grew indifferent to the doll, as it lacked her true personality. The doll stays within the hunter's dream, accompanied by German, ready to serve all hunters along their journey. Master Willem was the head of a prestigious college known as Bergenworth. His main school of teaching was the Great Ones, and how to achieve a way for the mind to reach a higher plane to communicate with these Great Ones. He sent scholars into the labyrinth to understand more about the ancient Pthumerians, which led to the finding of Old Blood. This split the scholars against each other, as Willem was heavily against the use of blood, whereas Lawrence founded the Healing Church completely around using the blood on the populace of Yharnam. This was seen as a betrayal by Willem, and many scholars left Bergenworth to join the Healing Church. However, Willem would be proven right by the beasts that currently roam Yharnam today. Founding the Healing Church, Lawrence was a prodigy scholar at Bergenworth under Master Willem, his main discovery being the Old Blood. Ignoring his master's objections to experimenting with the Old Blood, Lawrence, with his ambition, used the blood anyway to heal the poor citizens of Yharnam through blood ministrations. Everything would work perfectly at first, and the majority of Yharnam's population would indulge in the blood, but very quickly began to transform into beasts as the blood was cursed. Lawrence, one of the first to turn, would become what's known as a cleric beast. Mikolash, a Bergenworth scholar under Master Willem, gained great inspiration from Willem's teachings and founded the School of Mensis, a school that focused on attaining the knowledge to communicate with the Great Ones through dreams. His obsession with gaining this insight led him into insanity, creating what's known as the Nightmare of Mensis, a twisted realm that blurs the lines of dream and reality, where Mikolash performs his inhumane experiments for knowledge that he will never obtain. As a foreigner to Yharnam, you, the player, travel there to seek a cure for an unknown ailment. Seeking the Pale Blood, the player signs a contract with a man in a wheelchair who is never to be seen through the game again. Many suspect him to be Carol the Runesmith. Through a contract, you vow to serve as a hunter until your duty is done. Carroll was a member of Bergenworth College and closely linked with the Healing Church. He was able to hear the voice of Erden, a Great One, and inscribe his words into runes. This made Master Willem proud, as Carroll was able to obtain a greater understanding of the Great Ones without the use of blood. Residing in Cainhurst Castle, Annalise is a descendant of the Thumerians. She attempts to restore her bloodline's greatness by seeking to reclaim her throne. Through using corrupted blood of Bergenworth and harvesting hunters of their essence, Annalise and her followers became immortal vampire-like beings, known as the Vilebloods. Many hunters have a disdain for Vilebloods, even vowing to slay each and every last one of them. Annalise was eventually trapped inside a room of illusion by Martyr Ligarius, and guarded as to protect the outside world from her hunger for blood. Once the leader of the executioners, Martyr Ligarius dedicated his life to the complete destruction of the Vilebloods for their use of old blood. He condemned Queen Annalise into a room of illusion, to which he sat for years guarding, eventually giving his life for his beliefs. Ligarius is considered in high regards by many hunters, such as Alfred and German. Alfred is a hunter and an executioner who is sworn to slay beasts and the Vilebloods of Cainhurst. Although executioners are renowned for their merciless nature, Alfred is quite jolly and befriends the player, asking you to accompany him to slay the Vilebloods of Cainhurst. Ludwig is acknowledged as the first hunter employed by the Healing Church, and under his leadership, he recruited many more hunters to the cause, even training standard citizens to fight against the beasts. Ludwig, known for his use of heavy weapons, all hunters that were employed by the church followed in his footsteps, all using the same, though eventually Ludwig fell victim to the blood and transformed into a beast like the ones he hunted. Vicar Amelia was a high-ranking member of the Healing Church and thus named as Lawrence's successor. She can be seen in the Grand Cathedral kneeling, reciting a prayer whilst clutching Lawrence's gold pendant. As the player approaches, Amelia's infliction becomes dire as her skin bubbles into black and her skull stretches, ripping the skin from her face. The first account the player sees of a full transformation. Amelia, even as a beast, holds the gold pendant tight and can use it to heal herself as if it were a hunter's tool. Lasefka was a kind-hearted blood healer with a set goal of truly helping those in Yharnam, handing out her special blood vials that would slow down the bloodlust and soothe pain. However, due to fear of infection, she would not let anyone enter into her clinic. Later on, though, she has a complete change of heart and asks the hunter to bring her patients without further explanation. Breaking into Lasefka's clinic reveals that the real Lasefka and any survivors that had been sent there had been experimented on by an imposter. The imposter can be seen writhing on an operating table, repeating the phrase,
"God, I'm nauseous. Have you felt this? It's progressing. I can see things. I knew it. I'm different. I'm no beast. Oh, God, it feels awful. But it proves that I'm chosen. Don't you see how they writhe inside my head? It's rather rapturous.
On the imposter's body is an umbilical cord, and it can be assumed that this imposter was a surrogate for a Great One. In time, hunters needed to indulge in blood ministrations to compete with the beasts. Doing so often led to the hunters being obsessed and overcome by the blood, turning into beasts themselves. Eileen was a hunter of hunters, with an extraordinary skill set that managed to bring down each destructive beast she encountered, laying them to rest with dignity. Gascoigne was a priest in another land before he travelled to Yharnam. Upon his arrival to the city, he joined up with the healing church as a hunter. This would also take toll on Gascoigne, as he would sooner than later become infected with blood and struggle to keep himself from transforming. His wife Viola would often play a music box which would keep him his sanity. However, the fateful night you meet Gascoigne, his urge to succumb had already been granted, and his wife's body is to be found laying not far from the tens of bodies Gascoigne has already mutilated. His daughter, now home alone, awaits for both of her guardians to return, not knowing their fates. Jura was a hunter with exceptional abilities against beasts, even in his old age. He once ventured into Old Yharnam, however never returned. He grew attached to the beasts that lived there, feeling sorry for them and swore to protect them against any hunter that enters Old Yharnam, often giving them a warning to turn back before unleashing round after round from his Gatling gun that's perched upon his clock tower. Walter can be found within the Forbidden Forest near Bergenworth, where he and his comrades chased a beast from another land to which the beast devoured all but one. After slaying the beast, Walter gained the ability to see the corruption and created a league who vows to destroy it. Patches is the only character that can be found in all Souls games, and as his evil self, lures the player into a full sense of safety before revealing he was attempting to put you in harm's way. The player can forgive Patches, which will do nothing as Patches will never not try to kill you, or kill him, which is the only way to end his trickery once and for all. Queen Yharnam was the leader of the ancient Thumerian civilization who made close contact with the Great Ones, leading to them receiving supernatural powers. This came at a cost as Queen Yharnam was chosen as a surrogate and eventually birthed an infant Great One named Murgo. Rom is considered a Great One, however was once a scholar at Bergenworth who achieved communication with another Great One named Kos. With this communication achieved, Rom was given the status of a Great One, transforming herself into a spider-like being with smaller spiders guarding her. It is unknown whether the spiders are her children or simple beasts that are sworn to protect her. She remains at Moonside Lake, using her power to cover the true horrors of Yharnam, stopping all humans from witnessing the amygdala crawling throughout the city. This illusion is broken, however, once she is slain. Kos was a Great One who had washed ashore the fishing hamlet, seemingly deceased from something unknown. The villagers became infected and transformed due to the parasites being harvested and consumed from Kos's corpse. Master Willem sent scholars to investigate these happenings, which resulted in the torture and brutal killings of all the inhabitants of the village. Kos's corpse was desecrated and harvested for eldritch blood. This brought a curse to the hunters, known as the Hunter's Nightmare. Many hunters pray towards Kos, particularly those from the school of Mensis, hoping for ascension and to be granted eyes. However, this would never be given to them. The amygdalas are Great Ones which seem to be the most revered, as statues of them line throughout Yharnam and Yahar'gul. Not much is understood about them as they are invisible to the human eye due to Rom's illusion. They crawl around rooftops of the city, preying on its inhabitants. Erden, like the other Great Ones, sought to ascend to a higher plane of existence, and this he did, as Erden is the only Great One not seen throughout the game, as he is formless. The only presence he has is his voice, which the scholar Carroll managed to translate into runes. As the most powerful Great One, he is the most likely to be the father of Murgo. Murgo is the child of Queen Yharnam, and his cries can be heard throughout the city, particularly after slaying Rome. His guardian is a tall black skeletal figure with 6 arms dedicated to protect the infant child. It is largely unknown about Murgo as he is so young. Left trapped in the labyrinth, to be discovered and set free by the Healing Church, Abritus commonly communicates with high-ranking members, guiding them in the ways of blood ministration. She is the only known Great One to want coexistence with humans, and is protected and studied by the Healing Church. The final Great One to be encountered, the Moon Presence, is as hidden as the amygdalas, with not much being known about him. He was first contacted by Lawrence and lastly by German, who now sits trapped in the Hunter's dream. The only desire the Moon Presence has that we know of is his desire to kill all the other Great Ones for reasons that are still unknown. If you guys enjoyed watching and would like me to do any other content similar to this, whether it be about Bloodborne or Dark Souls or Elden Ring or a completely other franchise, feel free to comment down below with those suggestions and I will take them into consideration. I hope you all enjoyed watching and thank you for watching.